once again in the class of energy and environmental engineering. So we are studying the air pollution. So far we have seen what is the air pollution, what is the atmosphere, what are the air pollutants, then smog. So in this lecture we are going to see the next part, that is few more pollutants. So I am Mr. S. Sogule, Assistant Professor, Civil Engineering Department. Now, what are the other pollutants along with these five pollutants? So, the carbon dioxide. So, it is not commonly regarded as a air pollutant, although man generates the enormous amount of it and in combustion processes using coal, oil, and gas. Carbon dioxide is a natural constituent of air. It does not take part in any significant chemical reaction with other substances in air. However, its global concentration is rising above natural level by an amount that could increase the global temperature enough to take or affect the climate markedly. So, you might have heard about the greenhouse gases. So, this is one of those greenhouse gases, and it is contributing in the increasing temperature of the earth, so that the threat of melting the ice from the glaciers is there, and we have evidence so many situations like this, and so that the level of water in the seas can be increased, and we have threats for this cities who are or the cities that are those are in the vicinity of the sea, like Mumbai, then New York is there. So many countries have this kind of threat. Now the volatile organic compounds. So VOC are divided into separate categories of methane and non-methane. Methane is extremely efficient greenhouse gas which contributes to enhance global warming. Again, the non-methane VOCs, the aromatic compound benzene, toluene, then xylene are suspected carcinogenous and may lead to leukemia through the prolonged exposure. So these are the particular cancerous compounds, and these are present in the sprays we are using these days. So these are there. Then polynuclear aromatic hydrocarbons, that is PAH. So these are the large group of organic compound with two or more benzene rings. So it is basically C6H6, I think. Uh, they are formed mainly as a result of pyrolytic processes, especially the incomplete combustion of organic materials, as well as in natural processes such as carbonization. There are about 500 PAH, that is polynuclear aromatic hydrocarbons, in the air, the best known as BAP. The average total BAP content in the mainstream smoke of one cigarette is about 35 nanogram before 1960 and 80 nanogram in 1978-79. Modern low tar cigarette gives 10 nanogram BAP. So that goes on reducing. Uh, the concentration of BAP in a room extremely polluted with the cigarette smoke can be 22 nanogram per meter cube. In the past, chimney sweeps and tar workers were dermally, that is skin exposed to substantial amount of this PAH, and there is sufficient evidence that skin cancer is may in many of these workers was caused by this PAH. So this is also again the cancerous thing, as we know. The epidemiological studies in coke oven workers, the coal gas workers, and employees in aluminum production plants provide sufficient evidence of the role of pH in the induction of the lung cancer. Owing to this carcinogenicity, no safe level of pH can be recommended. Actually, there are so many things which these pH substances are containing. Like our non-sticks are there, and even with the aluminum also, those are cancerous or those are harmful for the human health. So always they used to recommend that avoid these things for cooking. That is non-stick as well as this aluminum. Go for steel, or the best is the this pots made up of this clay. So those are the good for the particularly your cooking. Now the toxic metals. So lead, cadmium, copper. So those metals are produced from different factories and can have immediate health effect and long term effect on the human health. Then there are the chlorofluorocarbons. You might have heard they are also depleting the ozone layer. Then PAN is there, that is peroxyacetylene nitrate is there. This PAN causing a problem with the plants also. Then monitoring of air pollution. The best indicators of air pollution are the sulfur dioxide and smoke and suspended particles. So by tracing the percentage of these gases, we can find out how much pollution is there in the air. So a known volume of air is filtered through a white filter paper under specific conditions, and the stain is measured by the photoelectric meter. The smoke concentration is estimated and expressed in micrograms per cubic meter of air as an average level over a period of time. Then the grit and dust measurement. Deposit gauges collect grit, dust, and other solids, and these are analyzed monthly. Then the coefficient of haze, the factor used particularly in a USA in assessing the amount of smoke and other aerosols in the air. So then the AQI, that is air quality index. It indicates whether the pollutant levels in the air may cause health concern or not. The range is from 0 to 500. So in detail about this AQI index, why this air quality is important. So local air quality affects how you live and breathe. Like the weather, it can change from day to day and even hour to hour. The US government, that is US Environmental Protection Agency EPA, and your local air quality agency have been working to make the information about outdoor air quality as easy to find and understand as weather forecast. A key tool in this effort is air quality index, that is AQI. EPA and local officials use AQI to provide a simple information about your local air quality, how unhealthy air may affect you, and how you can protect your health. So basically, if you might have seen uh, in the particular devices like the Android devices or this Apple devices, we have the air quality indexes, or some these websites tend to give the air quality index. So in this that this AQI has been given, and the air quality can be we can see that is whether it's good or harmful. So we'll see how it is. So the AQI is index for reporting daily air quality. It tells how how clean and unhealthy your air is and what associated health effect might be concerned. The AQI focuses on health effect you may experience within few hours or a day after breathing this unhealthy air. The AQI calculated for four major air pollutants regulated by the Clean Air Act. So the ground level ozone is there, particle pollution is there, carbon monoxide and sulfur dioxide. For each of these pollutants, EPA has established national air quality standard to protect public health. EPA is currently reviewing the national air quality standards for nitrogen dioxide. If the standard revised, then AQI will be revised as well. Then how this AQI works? So think of AQI as a yardstick that run from 0 to 500 as I told you earlier. So the higher the AQI value, the greater the level of air pollution and greater the health concern. For example, an AQI value of 50 represents good air quality with little or no potential to affect the public health. While AQI over 300 represents air quality is so hazardous that anyone may experience the serious effects. So here you can see that air quality values, these are the air quality values, level of health concern and color. So it is 0 to 50, it is good, color symbolized by color green. So 51 to 100 moderate, color is yellow. Then 101 to 150 unhealthy for sensitive groups. 151 to 200, that is unhealthy. 201 to 300, that is very unhealthy, and 301 above 300 is hazardous. So the value above 300 are considered beyond AQI. So you can see here that is AQI categories and breakup concentration with averaging times. So this is the AQI category range, that is particulate matter 10, then particulate matter 2.5, nitrogen dioxide O3, then carbon monoxide, then this sulfur dioxide, NH3, and lead. So here are the range has been given: good, satisfactory, moderate, poor, and very poor, and severe. So accordingly, the values of this microgram per meter cube has been mentioned over here. So this is basically for information only. That is not the part of your syllabus. So each category corresponds to different level of health concern. So good. So AQI value for your community is between 0 to 50. Air quality is satisfactory and possess the little or no health risk. The moderate. The AQI is below between 51 to 100. Air quality is acceptable. However, pollution in this range may pose moderate health concern for a very small number of individuals. People who are unhealthy, sensitive to ozone and particle pollution may experience respiratory symptoms. Unhealthy for sensitive group. In AQI is between 101 to 150, the member of sensitive group may experience health effects, but general public is unlikely to be affected. Ozone, people with lung disease, children, older adults, and people who are active outdoors are considered sensitive and therefore at great risk. Particle pollution, the people with heart and lung disease, the older adults and children are considered sensitive and they are at great risk. Now the unhealthy. So everyone may begin experience the health effects when AQI is between 151 to 200. Member of sensitive groups may experience more serious health effects. Then very unhealthy, the AQI between 201 to 300 trigger the health alert, meaning everyone may experience a more serious health effect. And hazardous, the AQI value over 300 trigger health warning of emergency conditions, and the entire population is even more likely to be affected by serious health effect. So here you can see we have this website and this shows the air quality indexes. So here you can see the in case of this Mumbai. So in this region it is good, in Solapur 154. So you can see the variation even you can see in Delhi, that is 986. So the quality of air is extremely poor in this region of the country where this dense population is there, and because of the vehicles and factories, more and more pollution is there in those regions. Now the acid rain or acid deposition, a form of precipitation that contains high level of sulfuric or nitric acids, can contaminate drinking water and vegetation, damage aquatic life, and erode buildings. So basically, what is acid rains? Or you might have heard about the acid rain. So when these concentration of the SOx and NOx are more in the air, and when it mix with the clouds, that is containing the vapors, so they form these acids, that is sulfuric and nitric acid, and when they fall on the ground with the precipitation, so they contaminate the drinking water which is in the river. Vegetation can be burned due to this acid attack, damage the aquatic life because of this um, reduced pH, then they erode the building itself. Now you can here you can see this how this acid rain form and falls. So see, you can see NO2 and SO2 are emission is there because of this factories, and then it mixed with this H2O, and then these clouds are going over here, and this nitric acid and this sulfuric acid is falling in form of this uh, precipitation, whether it is snowfall or this is the rainfall. So these trees are killed by this, and this water source is polluted by this even um, water level, that is subsurface water, is also contaminated by this acid rain. So basically this is the concept of acid rain. So behind this is SOx and NOx, this carbon, sorry, not a carbon, this sulfur dioxide and nitrogen dioxide are there. Now the control and prevention of air pollution. So the WHO recommends the following procedures for prevention and control of air pollution. So what are the approaches to reduce indoor air pollution? So first is to eliminate or control the source of pollution. That is, we can use the improved stoves which cannot emit uh, the what the smoke, etc. Like we have the now burner gas burners are there, so that can be used, and we have the something some stoves which will help or provide more oxygen to burn this fuel, so that there will not be not much that much pollution. Then clean fuels like kerosene and gas. So as I told you earlier, gas is the purest form or clean fuel, so it cannot emit or it is not emitting any sort of this uh, gases while burning. Then venting stove for cooking and heating. So if the stove is vented, then oxygen supplies more for this ventilation system, and obviously there will be a good burning of the fuel when we are supplying more oxygen to it. Then regular maintenance of cooking, heating, and the cooling systems. So as time passes, the efficiency of every system goes on reducing. So by maintaining all these things, we can extract more from all these equipments. So obviously there will be a less pollution in this particular by using all these equipments or the appliances. Then the ventilation, that is part of the building design. So dilute and remove the pollutants through ventilation and with outdoor air. So as I told you, when we are in the closed room, there will be an increment or uh, there will be an increase in the amount of carbon dioxide with our exhaling. So this concentration of carbon dioxide can be removed or diluted by supplying the outside air to it. Same case is there in case of this burning. If you are burning something in the room, obviously there will be uh, a smoke and increase in the pollutants in the particular room. So actually, in day-to-day life, when we are burning something, and obviously the smokes comes out, and when it gets into our nose, we sense immediately, and we used to open the doors or the windows. So it is nothing but the ventilation. So dilute and remove the pollutants through the ventilation. That can be a thing um, for the pollution, less pollution. Then the air cleaning. Remember, air cleaning is not the air freshener. That is the entirely different thing. Air cleaning is the different thing. So the air filters and ionizers may remove some airborne particles. So sometimes, or you might have heard the new concept, that is air filters and ionizers, or the air purifiers. So what they used to do, they have the small filters which can clog all these pollutants into those filters, and that can be removed and cleaned after. So obviously the air is to pass through that filters, and the pollutants get clogged in that particular filters. So this is the idea behind the air purifier. And what is the need of purifier then? Because we have the extremely bad air, like we have seen in that map, which is showing the air quality index. Then the ionizers also same do the same thing. They have the some charge on that particular those ionizers, and they used to suck or attract the um, opposite charge particles, so that the pollutants will be removed by using this technique. Then the gas absorbing materials is also used to remove the gaseous contaminants. So this is again the same thing, that we don't need those particular gases. We can use the absorbing materials to remove the this contamination. Next thing is the education and advocacy. So as we are going to educate all the people, obviously, basically children, family and community and healthcare providers. So there will be a awareness regarding this pollution, and this pollution obviously get reduced. Then environmental policy making, that is framework convention for tobacco control, clean indoor air regulators can be provided, as I told you, air purifiers. Then community actions can be taken, that is large community can be shifted towards this battery vehicle rather than this IC engines. So these things can be done, and these things the people have done. Even the planting of the trees can be done, so that to improve the air quality. So these things are there, that can be done by community, and many countries have done all these things, like Norway, etc. So they have done this thing and they got the result now, and the research is going on to control all these things also. Then control of outdoor air pollution. So the containment is there, that is prevention of escape of toxic substances into the ambient air. That is, we can use the filters at the chimneys, etc. And containments can be achieved by a variety of engineering methods such as enclosure, ventilation, and air cleaning also. The major contribution in this field of is the development of arresters for the removal of contaminants. So the air pollution controlling equipments are gravity settling chambers, cyclone separator, electrostatic precipitator, fabric filters, scrubbers, etc. So these are all the equipments which we can use to arrest those pollutants at the source itself. Then the replacement, that is replacement, replacing technological process causing air pollution by new process that does not. Obviously, in case of uh, we are going to replace the IC engines with the battery itself, or more techniques are there, that is hydrogen cell is there. So by this way we can adopt new processes to reduce this air pollution. So increase use of electricity, natural gas and central heating in the place of coal, those will help to the smoke reduction. There is a move now to reduce the lead in petrol, which is a cumulative poison. So these things are there, and we are going implementing these things. Then the dilution is the is valid so long as it is within self cleaning capacity of the environment. You might have heard, in this lockdown period, the quality of air gets more pure. This is there. The nature has the self cleaning capacity, and it can be done with the dilution itself. Some air pollutants may readily removed by vegetation, that is I told you earlier. The establishment of green belts between industry and residential area is an attempt for at dilution. The capacity for dilution is however limited, and trouble occur when atmosphere is overburdened with the pollutants. So you can see the green belt is there, or so many green belts are there. And next is legislation, that is Clean Air Acts. Legislation covers such matters as head of chimneys. power to local authorities to carry out the investigation, research, and education the concerning air pollution, then creation of smokeless zones and enforcement of standards for ambient air quality. So this is all for the air pollution. The reference is the slideshare.net, and I would like to thank my colleague Mr. M.H. Mota for providing so much information uh, in this regards. Thank you.